So welcome. Now we can have a quick summary about methodologies we have seen to test our hypothesis. We have seen the Z0 or the test statistic. We have seen also the confidence intervals. Also we have seen the p-value. So now, which one is the best methodology to use to check and examine our hypothesis? In fact, there is no difference. They are approximately having the same meaning, and eventually and finally, if you use any methodologies of these, you will get the same conclusion and the same results. So let's have a quick summary about these methodologies and the most important formulas. So here we have the methodologies, and here we have the criteria to reject the null hypothesis. Otherwise, we will fail to reject the null hypothesis. So for the Z0 or test statistic, we are mainly interested in the interval, which is Z alpha over 2 and minus Z alpha over 2. So in fact, minus Z alpha over 2 is exactly the same as Z1 minus alpha over 2, because the normal distribution is even and symmetric around the 0. So if the Z0 is larger than Z alpha over 2 or less than minus alpha over 2, we will reject H0, which means the absolute value of Z0 is larger than Z alpha over 2. On the other hand, we are going to fail to reject the null hypothesis if absolute value of Z0 is less than Z alpha over 2. So in this case, it means that Z0 lies in the acceptance region between Z alpha over 2 and minus Z alpha over 2. In the other method, we have used the confidence interval. We have calculated the lower limit and the upper limit of the confidence interval. So our criteria is to look for the mu0, which is the hypothesized mean for the population. So if the hypothesized mean is included in the confidence interval, we are going to fail to reject the null hypothesis. If the null hypothesis is not included in our interval, we will reject the null hypothesis. So it always depends whether the hypothesized mean value is included or not included within the confidence interval. So the last method we have seen is the p-value. We will calculate the p-value according to methodologies we have seen, and we will see later methodologies for one-sided hypotheses. So always the criteria is the same. We will reject the null hypothesis always if the p-value is less than alpha. But if the p-value is larger than alpha at any time, we are going to fail to reject the null hypothesis. So this is the summary of our methodologies. You can use any of these methodologies to test and examine the hypothesis, and in fact, if you use any of them or all of them, we will finally get the same conclusion and same result for our examination and testing of hypotheses.